All right, the purpose of this video is to address one of the questions that I'm getting almost daily at this point, and that is, what should I choose, HighLevel, Circle, or SureDash? Now, these aren't the only three tools out there. There's plenty of other tools, but these are the ones I'm being asked about because these are the ones that most of the people within my sphere of influence are using, and these are the ones that I use, have used, create tutorials about, and that type of thing. So with that out of the way, we're going to talk about HighLevel, Circle, and SureDash, and ultimately arrive at the decision of why you should pick one of these tools over the other. I'm going to give you reasons for each one of them and reasons to avoid each one of them to help you make your decision. So one of the big driving factors between these three tools is utilizing them for communities and courses. So those are where we're going to start. So for community, I broke this into two sections. What is it really good at and what's not so good about it on the community side. So for HighLevel, what's really good about the community? Well, you get unlimited communities, meaning within one sub-account of HighLevel, whether you're paying $97 or $297, you get unlimited communities, meaning you can create unlimited groups, unlimited community spaces. You can tie a community to a course. You can have one community, put all your courses in it. You can kind of do whatever you want there. You have so many different options. It has really good integration with courses and products inside of HighLevel. And that's going to be a theme throughout most of this video, is the integration between HighLevel, community courses and what HighLevel does, and all the other stuff that HighLevel does. That makes sense, right? It's an all-in-one platform. So what is HighLevel not good at? And I left an extra little dash there. Well, HighLevel has limited customization. At the time of this recording, they did just release a big upgrade to customizing how it generally looks, but I'm not talking so much about like colors and things like that. If that's what we're talking about, it's pretty much on par with Circle. I'm talking more about like customization of presentation, more of the structural customization. I think Circle has a little bit more edge there, and maybe even SureDash does too, in terms of like what you want to show, how you want to show it, and what you want to show it to do. You can have spaces that accomplish different things. For example, in Circle, I have a resource library that's really just a repurposed space that would normally be a discussion space, but I've made it so only I can create posts there. I can show a tile view. So that's actually probably the best example. You can have different views in Circle, and you're more limited in HighLevel in those types of views. HighLevel also has no real live events. They do have an events calendar where you can integrate events, and I'm hearing whispers of live events coming, but if they add that, fantastic, I'll make a video about it. But today, when I'm making this recording, and for those making your decisions now, it has no answer to live events. Now let's go ahead and go on to Circle, where what is it really good at? Well, conversely, events are basically the best feature in Circle by far. It has built-in live streaming and live rooms. Live streaming is one-to-many where you're presenting to everybody else. Think of live rooms like a traditional Zoom call where you can interact with different people, multiple people showing up on the screen. Circle also has phenomenal design and polish. The platform feels like it is designed with intention and thought, and every little thing is in place for a reason. HighLevel, a little bit lacking on that. SureDash, very lacking on that. It's one of the big downsides of SureDash. It's a little clunky. So Circle does that really, really well. And Circle really integrates extraordinarily well with its own paywalls feature, which makes Circle paywalls even worth using because, well, they cost, we'll get into that in a second, they can cost some points on transaction fees. So in terms of community, what does Circle do really well? It gives you a very polished platform that's 100% community first, that's very event focused, and integrates well with its own stuff. It's not a shocker. Now, what is Circle not very good at? Well, I don't know if this is not really good at. This is more of like a, what's the downside on the community thing, is that they do have a lot of like features that are gated behind different paywalls. That's also going to be a theme for Circle, the price. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Also, integration with external tools is very limited. If you're going to want to do a lot of different things inside of Circle, integrating with third-party tools, you're going to have their API tier, or you're going to need to use Zapier, which I know is a downside for a lot of people. All right, so let's talk about SureDash. What is it good at? So it's super integrated with your website, and it has really good synergy with the rest of the Sure products. Sure members, that's how you manage access. Sure Cart, that's how you'll sell that access. You can do it other ways too, but really the Sure ecosystem is where this shines. What's not so good about SureDash? Well, I personally don't think it's a community platform. They have said many times in the past it's not a community platform, it's more of a content platform, which both Circle and HighLevel could also do that. But there's also some other things lacking. There's no real events inside of SureDash at all. It's WordPress based, which means you have all the WordPress negatives that I've gone over in other videos. And then the presentation right now is clunky, but we'll talk about this in a second. The product's not even done yet. To my knowledge, it's still in alpha at the time of this video, so it's tough to give it a grade on presentation, but given its current state compared to the others, if you're making your decision today, it's the clunkiest of all presentations, and it's based out of WordPress. So for example, this is why I give it such a down negative grade on community, is because your community posts are kind of woven into the WordPress ecosystem of like custom post types, and you've got like discussion sections which feel like a post type, and then discussion pieces feel like they're posts within that post type. On the back end, it's just super ugly. Like I can't sugarcoat it. The back end management of SureDash in terms of setting up discussion spaces is just ugly. I don't have a better word for it. So that's the community side. If I were to say which one of these wins on community, hands down, it's Circle. Circle is the community platform of these three. Which one wins overall? I'd say HighLevel comes out ahead because of its ability to come in super high on the value proposition and because of all of its multiple integrations and its openness to integrate with other things. Which one loses? Absolutely SureDash. So if community is all that matters to you, there's your order. All right, let's talk about courses now. I only put this in kind of a general thought section rather than the two. And I just want to go through these. So in HighLevel, by far, courses will have the most features if you want a course platform. Still not an LMS, a learning management system, but it's as close, in these three, it's as close as you're going to get. It's tightly integrated with its community feature. You can assign courses to be part of community access products, for lack of a better word. So if someone buys access to a community group, you can associate courses with those. You can also do any kind of other alignment of those products as you want. You don't have to do it that way. Their courses have super good automation synergy with their workflows feature. It's kind of what they call automations. Like you can say like, if a user watches a video to this point in the video in the course, do X, Y, Z, trigger this email, trigger this automation. It's sky's the limit to maybe even to a fault. There's just so much you can do. And in terms of courses, HighLevel provides basically free video hosting as part of the platform. The only limitation I found is the video has to be less than 4 gigs, which I think is phenomenal because that's a big downside for the other two. In terms of Circle, it has basic course features. You can put a video in, type some text, use the Circle editor down below. You have comments and lesson resources, and you can bookmark lessons and things like that. It integrates really well with their own workflow system, not to be confused with HighLevel's workflow system. Both of them call it workflows. They're both automations. The workflows in Circle are like, if this happens, do this. If a member does this, do that. Or like an automation that you can create that auto DMs people. If you're interested in Circle automations or workflows, you can look those up. But it integrates really well with those and also with paywalls. So like get access to a course if they buy this paywall. That type of thing. And recently they released a feature called access groups, which means think of it like a bucket where you can put everything in this bucket and someone buys the bucket, but you can put things in and take things out of that bucket. And all it affects is what they have access to in that bucket. That's kind of a stupid explanation of it, but it actually is pretty apt and it works well for the explanation. And surprisingly, before that existed, using a third-party tool to sell access to Circle without access groups was a pain. And one of the things that drove me to use their paywalls. The last thing I'll say on Circle for courses is that video player choices are limited to what they support. This is different from the videos you can embed in a Circle post or even in a Circle course, just not as the featured Circle video, which is funny because you can put a video in a course using a lot more options than the featured video in the course lesson. So for example, if you're a Vimeo user, perfect. If you're a Wistia user, perfect. If you're a BunnyNet user, you can put your video in the normal Circle lesson, but you can't use the Bunny player as the featured video in the course yet. That might change. Which I find this whole, like, I can use this video player, but not that video player. I find that whole thing annoying. It's been one of my gripes. Now with SureDash, if Circle was basic, SureDash is even more basic. For being a content platform, the courses feature is more like a wrapper of the content. It's not bad. It actually looks nice. It's the nicest looking thing inside of SureDash. And you can show the video, you can show content, you can use the block editor, or I think you can use other editors down below. So it becomes more of a similar presentation experience to Circle courses in that way. But SureDash, at the time of this recording, I've requested this feature, but at the time of recording, there is no lesson resources. You'll have to manually add those down below using the block editor or whatever you use. And comments and things like that just have not been worked out yet in SureDash. So it's a little bit clunky. And again, it's kind of the theme here, a little bit clunky. And then lastly, for courses here, it's WordPress based. So you're stuck with hosting your videos elsewhere, which is not a dig at SureDash. I mean, any WordPress LMS or WordPress course platform is going to have the exact same downsides. But those are present. This is the only WordPress option here. All right, now I want to talk about value. And by value, we're going to focus a lot on price, right? Because that's what drives a lot of our decisions here. I know many of you have come to me with questions about the pricing. So with HighLevel, this is where it truly shines. Everything is included at the price that you pay. So if you sign up with HighLevel and you pay them $97 a month, you get everything, every feature, well, almost every feature. There's a few more obscure features you might have to pay as add-ons, but you get everything I've talked about here for $97 a month, plus email, plus automations, plus review management. You know, the list goes on. You get access to that for $97 a month. There's, some stuff that's at the $297 per month level, but pretty much everything I've talked about here is $97 per month. And then I make this known that for Convology Plus members, which is my membership, I basically resell HighLevel under my white label to members for $50 a month. So they get an even better deal. And I know many of you have taken me up on that. So HighLevel, hands down, is the best value to price feature ratio, particularly and exclusively if you're using multiple features at HighLevel. If all you're looking to do is use the course and community type features, then I would say potentially less value, but it would still be, well, honestly, even if all you use was courses and community and by extension, some of the automations that go with them, it's still the best price value. You'll see that here because Circle now is the priciest option by a mile. They have multiple pricing tiers. Again, they've locked things behind those different pricing tiers. For example, their lowest plan, which I don't even mention, it doesn't even come with courses. So you have to get the middle plan, which is the $89 per month plan, which is very, very usable. You don't need the $199 per month plan, but the $199 per month plan gives you the automations, the workflows, and that's kind of the sweet spot for what you get. I would say it's by far, well, take a step back. Depending on how much you value events, that could change this whole conversation. If you value events, then, well, now the $199 per month or the $89 per month, either one has events. Those suddenly become way more valuable. And you may be looking at that and saying, well, if I want to do live events and I want it all inside of my platform, Circle is the only one that can do that. If you're thinking of using like a third party, like a Zoom, add another, what is Zoom now, $16 a month? I don't know what Zoom webinars costs. Get a webinar platform, and now you suddenly change everything. And now Circle might be the most economical choice. So you got to weigh that in mind if you're thinking of events as a heavy focus of your business, which I personally do, which is why Circle remains, ironically, I use Circle and HighLevel, but that's why Circle remains right there at the top of my list for value. But for many people, it's the most expensive, so it has the least value there. And SureDash is the cheapest option. Again, it's like the opposite end of the spectrum from Circle. It's the cheapest option, but the most limited option for the price. And the product is still heavily in development. So the question becomes, will it catch up to the other tools, if ever? And right now, although it's by far the cheapest, the value reflects that. What you get is reflected in that price. So bear that in mind. If you're on the strictest budget ever, and $97 a month or $89 a month is completely out of the realm of possibility for you, then SureDash is the one you're going to want to look at. Now, something that I didn't necessarily write here under the SureDash section about why you would pick it is, so in addition to the integrations with the Sure ecosystem, it's also customization. If you want to create your own super custom dashboard, like I've shown many times over the years with various tools, and if you want to have the user be able to go to different pages on your website and create a custom ecosystem for them using your tools, like for example, Sure Members and Spectra Builder and building a custom dashboard, if you want that level of customization, you will only get that in SureDash out of these three. And really that didn't fit into, courses or community, but it really fits here under why you would pick it. just don't know why I didn't write it down. It wouldn't have fit there anyway, is that customization. So maybe that's something I cannot overstate either. If customization, even beyond like changing colors and general like layouts of features, SureDash, part of the WordPress ecosystem is that ability to curate a custom experience and integrate other plugins. If that's what you have and that's what you want, the choice for you is SureDash. All right, now let's talk about why would you pick this tool, or what's the reason to pass. So reason to pick, reason to pass. So if you use HighLevel, if you use any other features in HighLevel, and you want there to be that synergy, I would pick HighLevel if that's what matters most to you. If you want a community and courses and you want a more feature-rich course platform over a more feature-rich community platform, I would choose HighLevel. And if you're looking for overall value, if you're looking for something that can do payments, can do automation, can do email, texting, can do appointment booking, can create funnels, if you want all of those things, that's all included in the same program as what you're paying for all the stuff we've been talking about. So that would be a reason to pick it. Reasons to pass on HighLevel would be that you don't want any, it's just the inverse. You don't want any of those features. And not to say you won't use them, but you strictly just don't want them. Like you were to say like, I will never use HighLevel's emails. I will never use HighLevel's automations. I don't want to use those features. Well, HighLevel then drops down a rung, I think, if you would rather pick these other tools for those features. So that would be the reason to pass on HighLevel. As soon as you don't use any of the other features in HighLevel, the value ceases to be there. And also it's not part of your ecosystem. So it kind of just feels clunky at that point. But if it is in your ecosystem, then it's actually very smooth. Like being able to track what people are looking at in your courses because they're also in your CRM, being able to open up the contact record and say, wow, look at Doug. Doug went to this course, viewed this page, did these things. Let me create an automation around that. If Doug views this course but doesn't complete lesson 2, I can send an email. All of that's in HighLevel because it's all in HighLevel. All right, so now reason to pick Circle. If community is your core business and events are in any way a key part of that, Circle is the choice you must make. Like I put here, I cannot overstate how key events are to Circle. Reason to pass would be price. It's pretty darn expensive. It's only really a community platform with courses, but it's an amazing events platform as well, tied into community. If you need more course features, like if you need more of an LMS or you need more things, Circle just doesn't come close to that right now. And if community just isn't even something you want, don't choose Circle. Now for SureDash, if you want a WordPress ecosystem, I think that's also pretty important. So lately I've been kind of down on the whole WordPress ecosystem for a variety of reasons. One of which being there's only one update for WordPress this entire year. That's kind of been making its rounds on the internet. That's wild. But if you want a WordPress ecosystem, SureDash is the only choice. Like there was a time, not even a little more than a year ago, where I was I was mostly all WordPress with a Circle community. I've used it since 2020, but for a decade, I was an only WordPress business. If that's you, the only option here is SureDash. It's going to be maybe not at this exact moment. There might be other tools you would pick first, like a Buddy Boss or a Fluent Community or something else. But now and then into the future, SureDash is really going to be the key choice. And I'll, of course, make videos if there's other choices in the future. But right now, I think SureDash should be the pick if you're going WordPress. And if you're, conversely, why would you pass is if you don't want a WordPress-based solution or the idea of a WordPress solution. I made another video, by the way. Maybe I'll link it, maybe I won't, but it's on my channel where like maybe WordPress isn't the answer. All of those reasons I go through in that video about why WordPress is not great for member management and that type of thing, you might want to look into. That's a reason to pass. If the idea of security vulnerabilities, updating your plugins, having to get more expensive hosting because your community has grown, having to keep all of that on your list of to-dos, that would be a reason to pass and choose one of the other SaaS hosted solutions like Circle or HighLevel. But okay, that's it. I wanted to put this into a video because I get asked this question every single day, and I've been asked so many times that I've actually created an email that whenever someone asks me, I just send them the email. But now I have a video, and I hope that I've been comprehensive enough. I hope that you can see that I have not shown much bias Just looking at these three tools, like I said, my community is in Circle. My events are key to my business. Community is key to my business. But I also have HighLevel, and I'm very much a HighLevel user, but I'm not personally using HighLevel community or courses because Circle is my preferred platform, even though it costs more. That said, I've even been telling members of the Convology community who have asked me this question recently, like, would I recommend HighLevel over Circle? For some people, that answer is yes. Now for SureDash, I was a little harsh on SureDash, I think, in this video. I hope I was unbiased though, because if you're tight in the Sure crafted or Sure ecosystem, SureDash is a fantastic solution. It's great for presenting content, gating your content behind a purchase or an access group and Sure members. But it's a WordPress-based solution, and with that comes a lot of other responsibility and costs. So although it's the cheapest option, hosting and maintenance and stress, I think, are three hidden costs there that you have to loop in and consider, as well as features like events are completely lacking. If you have any other questions about these tools, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'll try to get to all of them that I can. And if there's another tool that you're looking at using and you want to be like, hey, would you recommend this over the others? You're welcome to ask that. Maybe I'll make a video about it. But right now, these are the three that I'm focused on.